Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Team Wilpers athletes. My name is Coach Justin Harris, and I'm leading you all through our run challenge, our fall run challenge 2025. And we're doing a little thing different here, which I'm going to introduce later. But first, let's get into the regular programmed activities. All right. So we're in our fall run challenge. All right. This is athlete briefing number 4. All right. And we're starting to pick things up a little bit. All right. This current week that you're in while you're watching this, week number 3, is unloading week. So make sure you stay with that theme. We talked about that last time. I want to skip through a lot of this stuff so we can get to our star guest today. All right. But don't forget, if you want to change difficulty levels, or you want strength training, or you just want access to all our training plans for 5Ks, half marathons, 10K, marathons, all of it, make sure you get all access so you can change things and level up your game. All right. We're not going to do Q&A this time because we have a guest here that I'm going to introduce, and we'll just bring them on. So it's Miss Christy here. Hello, Christy.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks for joining us here. Christy is from Fargo, North Dakota, for you Midwesterners, and she has done all of our challenges. She's an OG, original gangster here, and she has a great perspective. So I wanted to bring her on. We're pre-recording this because I'm going to be in Chicago during this time, getting ready for the marathon. And so I figured I'd bring in some people with a lot of experience, and Christy is one of them. So Christy, I got some questions for you. And the concept that we're talking about here for the athlete briefing number 4 in week 4 is the long run. So I've talked about all kinds of other things and the other challenges in this one, but the long run, is something that is near and dear to all of us as endurance runners, right? And so the question I have for you is, doing all these challenges and even inside of it and outside of it, is how do you approach long runs?
I love a long run. It is my favorite. It's my favorite thing to go long and slow. But I get into my head and I try to always schedule it for a day when I don't have anything else going on. So I can just be like, you've got nothing else to do but run. Like, just don't get stressed out about it. You've got nothing else to do but run today. Like, enjoy it. I'm kind of a girl that if it's not fun, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so if I am going to run long and I'm dreading it, like, I don't want to do that. So I really try to get myself in a positive mindset and load up classes that I love and wake up early. And preferably when it's dark, I like to run in the dark. I don't know why, but I do.
Why?
I don't know.
It's quiet though, huh?
It's so quiet. It is so peaceful. And I love watching the sun come up.
Yeah.
It's great.
Makes you feel like a badass in a certain sense, right?
Yeah, and I am a badass in a lot of senses. But and then I break it up, and one of the things that I've learned in doing these challenges is that I'm running slow is harder than people think, but it's such an underrated skill. And so going on the long run,
let's double click on that. What do you mean by that? Like, because I would absolutely 100% agree that people think it's pointless or not worthwhile or a waste of time. So let's pull that thread a little bit. What do you mean by that?
I think people get so into their stats and what their time is that it's I think some people don't like people to see that they're running slow. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. And so it's like they just kind of go out and just run as fast as they can. And I've always appreciated Team Wilpers telling me that running slow it's a skill. Like, slow down. Like, if you're winded, you're doing it wrong. And I think, what do you say? 80% of your runs should be easy for the most part.
Yeah, it certainly depends, right? And I think that's like a good point. It's an easy thing to do, right? I think it comes down to like frequency, right? If you're training, as I say, it's like if you're training 3 days a week, like, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, like you need some intensity to kind of get rolling, right? But that's not a good chunk of our challenge athletes. There's a lot of let's call them type A, maybe overachievers, maximizers or whatnot. But this idea of, if I'm not dead on the ground, then I didn't really do the training right. John Coach Ferry really did a good job of kind of setting the tone, and it's something I wanted to carry on, with these challenges, is like making sure we're living Matt's motto, which is, train smarter, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just about what you can absorb. And so when you're doing multiple things, the long run, we've taken a few different approaches here in the challenges, right? Like, hey, just go out and get the miles in. That's the safest place to be.
Yep.
One thing that I was talking with John when we, when I transitioned into the role, was like, hey, what about, like moving, like doing some things with the long run, because for various reasons, like just mix things up, at the least, and that there's benefit there. And he's like, I think, like I've been thinking about that. And he definitely gave me the green light to go. And I remember talking to you about, some of these different things, but running slower, zone 2, like all those memes, like, like a shirt, like,
yes,
I swear I'm running zone 2,
you're passing me, but I'm supposed to be running slow.
My coach told me to do this. And the thing is like, I really try to correct people, because I'm like a stickler for words. It's like people are like, well, my slower runs. I'm like, no. It's not your slow run of the week. It's your aerobic run of the week, because, we can say like, hey, like run under a heart rate of 130 BPM. That's a recovery run. And, like I can make you go even slower. Right. So, but finding what you were touched on is, what I heard you say really was this idea that set up, it's really a design problem. I think people have, they try to stuff a long run on a busy weekend or busy day. They go at a time that is not advantageous, like later in the day when the heat kicks up, or the wind kicks up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand. I coach a couple people in like Nebraska and Illinois, away from Chicago. And they're like, it was really windy today. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what's windy? And they're like, oh yeah, sustained 20 with gusts to 40. I'm like,
well, that's honestly pretty normal.
I understand that now, terrible. But that's not normal, in the Northeast, right?
Right.
So, and then you get the cold on top of it. But, this idea of, kind of designing the run, I hear you say, is like set yourself up for success, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of dread the long run because they don't want to run slow. And, why, I really like the approach there of like designing it to set yourself up, good tunes, whatever you need to achieve the desired outcome that you want. Right. And what we really want is just like time on feet. Is a good thing. And go from there. I think too many people think we're doing like junk mileage, it's called, like where it's just like, we're not being productive, but we really like the slower running. We start building the infrastructure to build the building up, right?
Yeah.
If your runs are too fast and you're building like a 10 by 10 foot shed, and we're trying to go 7 stories, like it's going to fall apart. It's like Jenga,
right.
So we want to create a wide base. Let me ask you this, and it kind of, it kind of goes in here, but you've done our challenges, you've done some of our other training plans and stuff on All Access. I've seen you over the time, really focus on the marathons and stuff. So like, in the marathon, the long run is the key session at a priority. So you got long run, threshold, and VO2 max as the priority for the marathon. What do long runs mean for you?
For me, it builds a lot of confidence in the mileage that I'm doing, because even though I've ran 5 marathons, several half marathons. Yeah. There's always this thing in my head that's like, are you going to make the distance? Like, can you make the distance? And so getting the long runs in really instills confidence in what I'm doing. And what I find is very interesting is that since doing the Team Wilpers challenges, I can feel the strength that I build during those weekly runs in my long runs, which has been so cool to like do the long run. And it's like, okay, this feels easier than it has been before. And I love that, because easier is better. Right.
That's my motto.
It always surprises me that I can always tell in my long runs, like in week 5 or 6 of a training cycle, of a challenge cycle, you can really feel that in the long runs. And so that also boosts the confidence.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah. The confidence that comes from it. Yeah. Yeah. It's, sometimes like kind of back to our other point is sometimes people use long runs to search for confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, hey, like, I got 20, let me see what I can run. I want to run my marathon goal pace, or, this challenge is really focusing on 10K half. Right. And we'll get to there. but the long runs is like to build confidence, right? And it's one of these things, like if you don't search for it and let it come to you, that those I find like athletes, it's the most meaningful, where you just say, hey, like I know I can do the volume.
Yeah.
And so that's an awesome perspective. Let me ask you this: what, as the focus is about half marathon, we try to gear, these challenges towards a certain distance to just get people not, we have a lot of marathoners, in Team Wilpers and different stuff, and it's marathon and marathon and marathon and marathon. And, it can build up on people, right? Or people are like, I'm just a half marathoner. I'm going to go do it for, 7 of them in 2 years, just a half marathon. Well, when you talk about marathon or the 5K, like, they love the 5K or they hate the 5K and they want to stay away from it. And I like talking about things like getting out there so we don't think we're unique in this, but like what scares you about the half marathon? Or let me ask it a different way. Like what concerns do you have like navigating a half marathon race? Like pops up for you?
It's so funny because like when I've ran marathons, so I've done all these long runs, I've done half marathons, and you forget truly how hard a half marathon is. It's a long way. It is a really long way. And it's like when you're in marathon training, you're doing 18, 20 miles and it's like, 13 feels really good. But then when you're not in an active training cycle, 13 is a lot. It's really far. I was just training for the TC 10 miler last weekend, and it was like I was doing 8 miles, and I was like, why does 8 miles feel so hard? And then when you go, 8, and then you like, I got to get to 10. And so you got to get to 13.1. And so it's like that. And I remember the very first half marathon I ever ran, I trained to like 10. I think the plan that I was using at that point was like train to 10. Like, and I thought I was going to die. And I was like, how the heck am I supposed to do 3.1 miles more when I wanted to collapse at 10? And so that's what the fly and die scares me, because I will go out way too fast.
Yeah.
Is why I really try to practice in those long runs to go out slow, because I train my body in that way. So I'm always worried I'm going to go out fast. That always scares me.
Right.
And then it's like getting the distance without being miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. This fly and die, show up, blow up, mentality, is, again, I get it. To me, that tends to be, it's a strategy, not practice in long runs, right? Like, hey, if I'm just going to go run long and slow, like sometimes we're missing an opportunity to practice being a little progressive. Like I've tried to set up on our flat long runs, like be a little progressive without overdoing it. But the thing is like when we're running a 3 mile, and it's all relative, right? Like when we really look at the grand scale, but like 26 miles, right? Like it's not really healthy to go hit the race distance, right?
Right.
And a lot of people try to get close. I want 24 for confidence. I want 22. And I'm really like, I draw a hard line of 20 for 99% of my athletes, because the 22 mile bit bites us in the butt, and it has a few times with me.
Yep.
It's not a never, but it depends. When we get to half, depending if your first time coming from it, this idea of like, the confidence that comes, as you were talking about, from long runs to like get the volume in. It's okay to get there and get that 13-mile run in before, but a lot of plans have it, kind of like 10 miles. But again, like some coaches, like, we'd rather do like a little progressive 10 than slow 13, right? Because it's more closer to this. People forget about strategy and tactics of racing, right? Strategy is like, what's the philosophy you have, and tactics are like, how are you going to execute that, right? So the fly and die, but that 13 is still a long way. I don't know, they always say like 1% of people of the population, runs a marathon, like you're in this, I wonder what a half is, but the half is this precarious distance, because you can kind of fake it, meaning like you can kind of undertrain and go and not like die.
Yeah.
But you can really have like a really tough experience if you go out too fast for your fitness, or you really didn't get in the mileage that you need to support it. Whereas a 5K, you can kind of get up for most people, right? There's challenges across the board, but go there, a little more under prepared. So this is why I think for the marathon, people kind of tend to over prepare and end up broken by the time they get to the line. With the half, I feel like 10Ks half are this really kind of sweet spot, Goldilocks of like, you can have a family life, busy work life, full schedule, clients, as I say, athletes, and get your training in and have a positive experience. All right. Let me ask this, and let's go into rapid fire. How about this? Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna get to it, and then we can finish up with anything else. But so rapid fire. So I'm gonna ask the questions rapid fire. All right. And I just want one word answer. And if anyone knows Christy, this is gonna be very challenging for her to just say one thing and not.
I am verbose.
Yeah, I'm there too. I'm a yapper. We're both yappers. So,
yeah, I know.
So we're gonna set this up to just one word answers and go. We'll see if we can get through this, and then we'll finish it off. All right. So, all right. So I'm sorry, not sorry to get Christy to answer in one word questions or answers. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So, what do you feel when you finish a training session?
Relief.
Okay. Recovery day. Run, ride, or mobility?
Mobility.
Yeah. One thing that you do that's non-training on an off day.
Sleep in.
I love that. All right. Carbon plate, yay or nay?
No, nay.
Okay. Go-to sugar, gels, chews, or liquid calories?
Yes.
No, which one?
All of them. Whatever I can take.
Zip it. I did ask for clarity on that one. I wasn't ready for that answer.
That's not my fault. That was you.
I wasn't ready for that. Okay. Let's get back on track here. Pre-race, have to have.
Cinnamon bagel.
Okay. Favorite thing about Team Wilpers challenges?
The people.
Awesome. Hey, listen, Christy, is there anything else you want to get across to people, either about long runs, challenges, that is on top of mind? Because, we have an awesome, kind of going on that note of awesome people and everything. You have been such a stalwart in the Facebook group. There's a bunch of you in there that are always communicating, being available and vulnerable about, good days and bad days. You're always there to champion other people, to help them, get through when they're having a tough time, and to help newcomers go in. But is there anything else on your radar? Last words? I'll let you talk as much as you want here. So you got the floor.
I have the floor. Okay.
I'm going to start a stopwatch.
No, I really do. Because I know that there are a lot of people doing the challenges. I don't know that there's a lot of people that post or don't feel comfortable posting, but it is the most supportive community ever. And so I always want people to like, there's something relieving about knowing that I'm going to do a hard run, because you plan hard runs. But knowing that you're doing it with other people and that you're commiserating with other people is like, it's such a powerful thing. And then to see other people get better while you're getting better, it's like, it's so great. And the programming is it's just so good. And every time somebody comes in and they're new, they're like, oh my God, this actually works. Like, they're surprised, but it's like, yeah, it does. It actually works.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks for that. The thing is that, John and you guys have really built this amazing community, that I get to be a part of now. And obviously this all stems from Matt, his philosophies, him creating all these things and these ideas and concepts. And but it really, I keep coming back to it all the time. It's really the community. And, if you're watching this and you're shy about it, you can post anonymously. I let those go through so people can answer them if you're a little bit shy. Don't be afraid to show your the times that things aren't going well or the hurdles you're overcoming, to provide context, because in all this, even though we're remote and whatnot, like, you've been to races, that's where I met you, and it's like, we try to connect as many athletes as we can, but you're not alone. Right.
No.
You don't have to go train, even if you're out there by yourself, you got your people on Strava, your people on Facebook to give you, the love. And I just wanted to say thank you from Team Wilpers, for engaging in all that. And thanks for joining me on this call. So
my pleasure. I was looking forward to it all day.
Me too. So, but everyone else, week 4 we're starting to pick things up a little bit. Make sure you read the directions. There's a couple little new things that I'm not going to get into here. You can ask questions on Facebook. I'm kind of doing this on purpose a little bit to get you engaged a little bit more. But there's some newer things in there, just a little bit. But this week in week 3, we're unloading volume. Next week, we're picking things up. Week 5, we'll load up even more. And then week 6, I'm foreshadowing, we have an unloading week. And at the end, 20-minute test, our favorite. Yeah, no, it's a tough love one. But the thing is I'm finding people, they'll avoid a few challenges and then they'll get better. And then they're kind of self-selecting paces. And at that time, you're not really utilizing what the platform is able to provide for people. If you tested, beginning end, that's fine. And you're new to this, you don't have to test at the beginning of every single challenge. There's enough gap there where it's not necessary. But it's something to think about. And again, we're trying to show people like, one of the things I thought this before, and I've said this before, I thought it when you were saying it, is running in endurance sports, it's both beautiful and brutal. The beauty of it is it's simple, especially running, just throw some shoes on, head out the door. You don't need all the gadgets that we have. It could be pure. And I would recommend that some of us run maybe one run without a Peloton class in the ear. And I'm not calling you out, Christy.
Whatever.
Some of my clients, they're going one class to the next on their, like going there. But the thing is, it's also brutal. There's no hiding when you have a bad performance. There's no hiding when you have a bad run, but that's what makes this raw and real. And, if I'm going to describe anyone, that's you.
What?
So, Christy, thank you. Everyone at Team Wilpers Run Challenge, make sure you're engaging with us on Facebook. Give us follows, engage on the community, and I'll see you live in 2 weeks. All right.